He's an academy graduate. He's a former captain. He once stood on the pitch in the final game at the Boleyn and proclaimed that West Ham were not run like a circus. However, now that he's the sporting director and the chaos that's going on around the club at the moment, it could be argued that Mark Noble is conspicuous by his absence. But we'll get into that. If you're new to the channel, please make sure you subscribe. If you're a regular visitor to the channel, just have a look and just make sure if you're subscribed. Have a little look. Doesn't cost you a copper coin, takes a second of your time, helps to grow the channel into something bigger and better. Most important of all, make sure you drop a thumbs up on this stream and get your comments in the section below. This could be quite a controversial topic, but this was something that was brought to my attention by a viewer of the channel, Mercedes SL. Thank you for this. Do appreciate your contribution. And it was something that I hadn't really thought about until they mentioned it on a comment. And I thought to myself, no, that's not really. And then the more and more I thought about it, I thought maybe they've got a point. So you sort of stop and you consider that Mark Noble, he's died in the wool West Ham fan. There's no doubting that. And he's come through the academy. He's played hundreds of games in the claret and blue. Eventually found himself wearing the captain's armband. Was the captain on the last day at the Bowling Ground, and was the first captain at the London Stadium. He's now our sporting director. And as I say, he was on the pitch at the London Stadium, final game against Manchester United, with 3-2 victors in that particular occasion. And in the post-match celebrations and all the pageantry and all the bits and pieces around that particular event, the closing of the Bowling Ground, he was interviewed by Bianca Westwood and Ben Shepherd. And one of the comments he made was that West Ham United are not run like a circus anymore. That was in 2016. Fast forward now 9 years later, and I think it's a pretty different thing now. You look and you see the turmoil, the protests, the boycotts, the fact that we were left our transfer business late yet again, which leads on to our current struggles. And all the while, Mark Noble, who is installed as the sporting director, is very quiet. You can't hear him coming out with anything to say about the current situation at the club, which is quite strange, because if you go back in time, not so long ago, since the move to the London Stadium, he has actually been quite vocal in airing his disapproval on certain decisions made at an upper level. Cast your mind back to when he was still playing. He was the captain of the club, and Grady Diangana, who was a player himself that came through the academy and was promising and looking to get into the first team. We had Sebastian Haller as well in the team at the time, who'd made comments about his young teammate and looking forward to being given a steady supply from the wing for him to capitalise on and hopefully have West Ham moving up the table in the Premier League as a result in that upcoming season. And then all of a sudden, quick as a flash, West Bromwich Albion came calling and he was kicked out of the door up to the Hawthorns. This didn't go down too well with Mark Noble at the time, and he was quite vociferous in making sure that people knew that this was not a decision that he was aligned with. So, given the current situation at the club, why is he keeping quiet? What is the problem with coming out now in the situation that we're in? Mark Noble was quite open to criticise the sale of a player. I would argue that this situation with the club right now is much bigger than that, and yet we've not heard a dicky bird from him. Now, it could be argued that one reason is because he is actually a company employee of David Sullivan, and that maybe he feels a little bit is in a no-win situation there. But the flip side of that particular argument is, let's be completely straight, Mark Noble really doesn't need the job as sporting director of West Ham United. In all truth, He probably owns half of the properties in Essex and East London. That's probably a slight exaggeration on my part, but he's got quite a burgeoning property portfolio, which he earns quite a bit of money from. And let's be honest, there'd be other ways for him to earn money if he was to speak out and the hierarchy maybe took a dim view of it and decided to dispense with his services. Let's be completely honest. Mark Noble is not going to struggle for work. Mark Noble is not going to struggle to pay the gas and electricity bill. So, really, what does he have to lose? He would not lose the respect of the West Ham fans. In fact, I would argue there's probably West Ham fans, such as Mercedes, who brought this to my attention, that might actually think that actually he has the fans' best interests at heart and he's not afraid to speak out against the hierarchy. So where do you stand? Do you think that Mark Noble actually really needs to grow a set and speak out against his masters and make it plain that the direction that the club has been taking under David Sullivan in recent months and years, let's be honest, is really not to the benefit of the club, the fans, and everything else connected with it? Or is it a case that really you understand that Mark Noble really can't be seen to be speaking out against the person that's paying his bills, the person that's putting money in his bank account month on month? It's his employer, it's his boss at the end of the day. Do you think that maybe that's the reason that Mark Noble feels that he can't speak out? I'm quite conflicted on this myself. I'm not quite sure. I can understand what Mercedes' point is, and I actually think that there is an argument to say that maybe Mark Noble should be doing more to get it out there that this is not right. This situation at the club is just not correct as far as the fans are concerned. Which fundamentally, let's not forget, Mark Noble is a fan himself. Born and bred in Canning Town, he grew up in the shadow of Upton Park and idolised the players that in the generations before him. For him to come through and get into the first team was absolutely a dream come true for him, let alone wearing the captain's armband and being the final captain on the final match at the Bowling Ground, and then the first match at the new stadium, the London Stadium. So his place in West Ham folklore, his place in West Ham history is assured. So if he was to come out, it wouldn't, I believe, dent his reputation. Certainly not with, I believe, the rank and file West Ham fans who would always love him for what he did in a claret and blue shirt. But should he be coming out and speaking against David Sullivan? Should he be coming out and saying that the current situation with the club, the current direction of travel that we've taken is unacceptable? Or do you think that actually he can't win? Get your comments in the section below. Let us know your thoughts. Should he be doing more? Or do you accept that as an employee of David Sullivan, he really can't be seen to be biting the hand that feeds him? Let us know your comments in the section below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. It's free of charge, just a click of a mouse, and it helps to grow the channel. And we don't have any data sensitive information of yours. And most importantly of all, don't forget to drop a thumbs up on this stream. Maybe even consider sharing this onto your social media platforms for your friends and family to see. And if they're West Ham fans, come one, come all. We're all one big happy family. Anyway, I'm going to disappear now. Stay safe. Come on, you irons.